Hello, I'm Dieonik, and welcome back to Let's Play Danganronpa. So, here we go! I asked you a question. Is that your answer? I forget what his question is, but hopefully you remember. Yes, that's our fucking answer! You killed Fujisaki, you asshole! The opposite of agreed. That seems like a very plausible thing for you to do, Togami. After all your talk about being about this being a game. Hey, would you mind holding off for just a minute? I'd like to keep the discussion going for just a little longer. What? Is that really necessary? We've already figured out who did it, dude. Maybe we have, but still, something doesn't feel quite right. Doesn't feel right. And what would that be? I killed Chihiro Fujisaki in the women's change room, and then manipulated the crime scene. So it would appear as though the psychopathic homicidal maniac was responsible for the murder. And what exactly doesn't seem right about that? Was that a confession, or is he just messing with us? I don't know. Wait. Is that really how it happened? No. Well, yes, that's where the body was found. Is Togami really right in saying that? Probably not. No, I don't think so. There's something obviously wrong with his claim. The extension cord, genocider show, the crime scene. You said you killed Fujisaki in the women's changing room. I'm just gonna call it a change room. Togami? I always call it change room. But I'm not so sure about that. I think the murder might have taken place somewhere else. Like the men's change room. Unbelievable. You've let me down, Negi. I thought you were going somewhere else with that. But goddamn if I've never been wrong. I've never been more wrong. She died in the women's changing room. There's no question about that. Well, now we don't suspect Togami any longer because... how... Alright, so who the hell was it then? I mean, obviously they have to be able to lift the 55-pound dumbbell or whatever it was. It couldn't possibly have happened anywhere else. Isn't it possible she was killed somewhere else and then brought there? Yes, it was. Along with the rest of the scene? You think the whole scene was moved? And I expect you have some evidence to back up that claim like that. Yeah, that was the idea. Did I just throw him off balance? He's been so confident up to this point, but as soon as I mentioned the crime scene, maybe it never occurred to him that the murder could have taken place elsewhere. Hey, don't leave the rest of us behind, soldier. What do you mean she was murdered somewhere else? What's the holdup, Negi? If you have evidence showing she was killed somewhere else, then hurry up and present it. Present it. The first piece of evidence suggesting the crime was committed somewhere else is the thing that was moved from the men's changing room to the... Okay. The posters, I think, is what it wants me to, yeah. Yeah. Triangle. Triangle Man! The poster in the two changing rooms suggests the murder might have taken place in a different room. The poster? are your evidence?
女子更衣室にあったポス
And
タ
the
ーってさ
women's changing room.
巨乳グラビアアイドルのものだったんだけど
There was a poster of a busty supermodel. Doesn't that seem a bit strange? Because women can't idolize women or be interested in women in a nature that is not strictly platonic.
だって
I
女子
mean,
更衣室のポスター
really,
がグラビアア
a
イドルのもの
poster
なん
of
て
a
さ
female model and the women's changing room.
巨乳じゃなくて巨乳だったり
Not
して
busty, she's busted. For having some fake ass titties. Ga ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. I never thought I would read that in a game until I started playing this. Okay.
それともう一方
On
の
the other
男子更
hand,
衣室
the
に貼られて
poster
いた
hanging
の
in
は
the men's changing room
女子に大人気のアイドルグループ
was of a boy
トルネードの
band
ポスターだっ
that's
たんだ
extremely popular with girls, Tornado.
これも男子更衣室に
That
は
too
ふさわし
seems
く
a
ない
bit out of place, wouldn't you think?
つまり女子更衣室と
So,
男子更
you're
衣室のポ
proposing
ス
that
ターは
your posters
互いに入れ替えられ
in
て
the
い
two
ると
changing rooms were switched. I would rather me be like, oh, hey, these were switched. I've been in here because I have been in here, and these posters were not like this when I was last in here a day ago. Rather than being like, oh, there couldn't possibly be a busty supermodel in the female changing room. Oh, there couldn't possibly be a beloved boy band in the boys' changing room. That seems weird. Alright.
それだけじゃないよ
That's
2つ
not
の
all
更衣室
either.
には
There's
もう
one
一つ
other
おかし
thing
な点があっ
about
た
the
んだ
two rooms that doesn't add up.
そうだよね大神さん
Isn't that right, Ugami? Ugami.
もしや
Are you
Protein
referring to
coffee
my
のことを言っておる
protein
のか
coffee? That we are.
プロテインコーヒー
Protein coffee? He said.
以前女子更衣室でのトレーニング中
One
に
day, while working out in the
Protein
women's
coffeeをこぼしてしまってな。
changing room, I spilled protein coffee on the floor.
されど
And yet,
事件後に見た
after the
時は
murder, the stain
そ
had
の
been
シミがきれ
cleaned
いに掃除
spotless.
されていたのだ
Actually, that's not exactly right. It was not spotless. The carpet was moved. The stain wasn't cleaned, it was just relocated.
これだ女子更衣室のカーペット
The
にあ
stain
っ
on
た
the
シミは
carpet in the women's changing
掃除さ
room
れたわけ
wasn't
じゃないんだ
actually clean.
男子更衣室のカ
I
ーペット
found
に見つ
it
かったよ
on the carpet in the men's changing room.
それは確かに我が
That
こぼ
is
したプロテインコーヒー
indeed
の痕跡だ
the mark left by my protein coffee. Okay, so I assume he's taking pictures with his phone or something.
ではカーペットまで
Or
の
maybe
が
it's his
入れ
card.
替えられていたというのですか
So, you're saying even the carpet was switched.
ですが何のためでしょう
But to what end?
犯行現場を
How
男
about
子
to
更衣
move
室
the
から
scene
女子
of
更
the
衣室
murder
に
from
移
the
すため
men's changing room
そう
to
は
the
考えられない
women's?
か
I beg your pardon?
つまり犯
In
人
other
が
words,
現場を入れ替える
the
ために
culprit
死体と一緒に血痕
moved
の
the
付着したポ
bloodstained
スターとカ
poster
ーペッ
and
トを移動させ
carpet
たんだ
along with the corpse
そうすることで
in order
現場
to
を部屋ごと入
relocate
れ
the
替えたん
crime
だ
scene in its entirety.
確かにそう
While
考
I
えることはで
confess
きますが
that is a
その行為
legitimate
にどんな意
interpretation.
味があるのです
What would the culprit gain from doing so? Huh? Okay, so the only other explanation, and I'm just gonna blurt this out because I don't know if it's right or wrong anyway. And I don't know, who my primary suspect should be, but I mean, it's kind of gone back and forth between Togami and Fukawa, and currently I'm thinking, oh, it's totally Fukawa now because, she would have been, she would have known, maybe, that, Fujisaki was a trans person and had only, for some reason, because of this awful plot line in this game, would only have access to the men's change room. I'd like to point out first that is not my statement, not my stance on the situation, but Okay, so let's say that happened, and then Fukawa decided that, oh hey, I can get away with it now if I made it look like it was someone trying to make it look like it was me, and then, you know, everyone will get murdered. But I don't even see the point in that. I mean, do they really want to get out and go murder everyone? I don't know, I guess everyone here would die, everyone who knows that she's the serial killer, and then she would be able to go free and serial kill some more. But I don't know. I don't know who my suspect is supposed to be, and I guess at this point I'm not really supposed to have figured out that Fukawa was a trans character, but I don't know. I don't really like the way that this game is portraying. Anyway, so we're gonna just continue on with it. I'm gonna try to keep my comments to a minimum. I apologize. Is it truly necessary for them to go through all the effort of relocating the crime scene? Actually, no. The more important question is, if she was really killed in the men's changing room, then how did the victim, Fujisaki, gain access to the changing room? To enter one of the changing rooms, you must use your Electro ID on the card reader by the door. However, Fujisaki, being female, only had access to the women's changing room via her Electro ID. In short, she couldn't have gained entry into the men's changing room. Wait, there's one way, and if you'd like, I'd be more than happy to tell you, dude. Forgive me if I don't believe you. Believe it, because I'm about to tell you how she could have done it, right here, right now. Is it really possible? Did Fujisaki really have some way of entering the men's changing room? Broken Electro ID. Is it really possible? Could Fujisaki really have gained access to the men's changing room? I've got it! She modified her Electro ID. I assume that... No, it's not wrong. There's some sort of contradiction between my statements and that evidence? Well, no, but how... Didn't Monokuma tell us that they were invincible? I mean, I assume that means you wouldn't be able to modify in quotations. Okay, then let's not then. She was a super duper high school programmer. That cannot have been the outside. Nope, that ain't it. Use some certain item from the entrance hall. Huh? What? Something. Electro ID. Okay. Alright. I'll take my A, that's fine. Fujisaki couldn't have possibly have used Kuwata's Electro ID because it was broken. Well, why not, dude? Because when I found it in the entrance hall, it was broken. That makes sense. Here goes my idea. It is almost impressive how quickly you surrendered. In any event, was it not against the rules to make use of another's Electro ID, only if they were living? The rule only prohibits the lending of Electro IDs. They say nothing of borrowing someone else's. Which is to say, you're free to use any of the dead students' Electro ID without violating the rules. Yep, that's exactly right. Although, it makes no difference since his Electro ID was broken. In which case, she must have reprogrammed it using her skills as a super-duper high school programmer. Objection. It's impossible to modify. So why was my refute wrong then? Alright. An alarm will go off if you open one of them up. Given she can neither use Kawada's Electro ID nor modify her own. Could perchance Master Makoto Negi's line of reasoning have been incorrect? If she couldn't get into the men's changing room, then yeah, that's what that means. Then my vote goes to Togami. But is that really how it happened? Did Togami really kill Fujisaki in the women's changing room? I don't think that's right, but I'm all out of... Hold on. I agree with Negi. I think he's on the right track. Huh? You open your mouth for the first time, and who knows how long, and that's what comes out? The kid couldn't have gotten into the men's... Was it Iwata? I hope it's not Iwata. Was it Iwata? I hope it wasn't Iwata. The kid could have gotten into the men's change room. That means... Just how can you be so sure there is another way? What was that? Explain yourself, Kirigiri. I don't know. What is this other way? Yes, of course, but to do that, could I possibly request we take a short recess? There's some place I'd like to take everyone. Whoa! What you talking about? If you allow it, it'll make the rest of the trial much more exciting, which I'm sure you would enjoy. Oh? And we'll make the class trial more exciting. Alright, that's cool with me. This class trial is now officially in recess. What? Seriously? So where's this thing you want to show us? And don't think I'll let you off easy if it's something stupid. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. Let's get going. Please. With nobody really sure what was going to happen, the class trial went on recess. And we all followed Kiguri. Her destination was... Is it that weird classroom? The crime scene. The women's changing room. We've gone over this place with a fine-tooth comb. What do you expect to find here? Now! Examine the victim's body again. Very carefully. Examine Fujisaki's body. All of it, and thoroughly. You mean, touch the body? Don't make it weird. Nay. I will have to refrain. It would be improper for me place my hands over a woman's body. For me... Okay, there's a word missing there. It's not that it creeps me out or anything. It's just that it might possibly be against my religion. Okay. I shall do it. But you're a girl, Sakura. Making you touch a dead body is, you know, a guy should really do it. No, it would be more suitable if I, a female, were to touch her than to allow a male to do it. I'll take care of it. Sakura, What is wrong with you? Do I smell homo? Are you two lesbians? What is wrong with you? No, we're not. Quit playing games. Okay, and also, why are you so defensive? Like, that's... Whatever, man. Very well, I will begin. I hope you can forgive me for doing this, Fujisaki. As she spoke, Ugami held her hands clasped together before Fujisaki's body before placing them on her. Make sure you examine the entire body very carefully. That should answer any questions you have. Her whole body, you say? What end are you having me do? Oh my god, really? Are we doing this? Can we be more elegant about this? Because it's... Alright. What's wrong? Impossible. How could this? Gami's eyes were open wide, fixated on Fujisaki's body. She was visibly trembling. Fujisaki!
Nani?
What? No, she really isn't. Is a man. I see, I see. So she was a man. Thank you very much for your... Ah! No, she wasn't. Dude, you're kidding. I do not tell jokes. So it's true? A guy? Fujisaki's a boy? What's this? You guys didn't know. I thought that was pretty dang obvious. Chihiro Fujisaki is a crossdresser. I mean, okay, if we want to make a statement like, okay, there is a weird... Okay, there is a huge misunderstanding, I guess. Crossdressers do exist. But if Fujisaki was living as a female, identifying as a female, dressing as a female, or whatever, they're female. Like, you can identify as anything that you want to identify as. If you decide that you want to be male, that you want to be female, that you want to be non-binary. Be whatever you want to be, and that is 100% okay. And I don't know. I don't know if it's just a, I don't know, ignorance that would label Fujisaki as a crossdresser, or if it is Fujisaki actually identifying as a crossdresser. But I'm like 80% sure that Fujisaki must have been identifying as a female. And I don't know, from the way that everything played out and from the way everyone talked about them, if they were living their lives as female, they're female. And that's my opinion. Like, I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I feel like this is a very insensitive subject, and that I really, really wish it was not a plot point in this game. I wish that if it were, that it would just be kind of rushed over, or like, oh yeah, so Fujisaki was trans or something like that. And then, you know, and then it was kind of just like, okay, well, let's move on. But no, it's like, oh no, things like this could never happen. What are you talking about? That's so weird. And really it's not at all, because it happens. Like, people identify as whatever the hell they want to be. So I feel like I needed to say all of that because I don't know what's about to happen or what's about to be said, so yeah. He was a cross-dresser? God damn, that's odd. Now I wish I'd done him. That makes sense. This is what Kiguri wanted to show everyone. Boop, boop, boop. You were right about that. This most certainly does make things more exciting. Now, let's hop on back to the courtroom and get the ball rolling again. This time with a little extra oomph.
長らくお待たせしました。ではでは、学級裁判を再開します。
My humblest apologies for the delay. Court is now back in session. The shocking truth revealed that Chihiro Fujisaki was a boy. Now let's see where you guys go with that. I don't know why he chose to dress like that, but one thing is certain. Chihiro Fujisaki was male, not female. This is making me very uncomfortable, and I feel like that's this dialogue is really ignorant. I'm just saying, like, if they were spouting racial slurs, you know, people would not accept it in, you know, the general populace, but the fact that they're, you know, subjugating, you know, I feel like it's obvious. An obviously trans person, it's okay, but you know, that's my opinion on it. I don't feel like that's not PC. It never occurred to me that Fujisaki could be a boy. Me either, because it wasn't what happened. It completely slipped by me, unnoticed. With the victim being male, he would have no problem gaining access to the men's changing room. If the Electra ID identified him as male, then yes, you're right. You betcha. Fujisaki was a cross-dresser, so of course his Electra ID said he was male. In which case, there are no problems with Negi's line of reasoning. The victim was murdered in the men's changing room, after which he was moved to the women's. Accessing the women's changing room is simple. He just needed either Mizono or Enoshina's Electra ID. Okay, so another thing, like, I'm sure that there's gonna be a lot of people who are arguing, well, maybe this person was just a cross-dresser. I feel that that's unlikely to be the plot point when everyone thought that this person was female. If they identified as female and lived their life as female and everyone was referring to them as female, they are not just a cross-dresser. Like, if they were a cross-dresser, they would be a man understanding that everyone saw them as male and correcting people saying, oh no, I'm just a man who wears dresses, which there's nothing wrong with, but I don't think that's the case, and that's why I find it so degrading and insensitive, is because it is the plot point, like, that no one knew. So it's, you know, and even the killer went out of their way to switch the crime scenes to make it, you know, more covered up. And that's why I feel like it really is directed towards non-tolerance versus just being what they keep saying as a cross-dresser, and I don't know, it feels wrong to me, and it is making me very uncomfortable. So we're just gonna get through this and ignore that all of this is happening. Then it's true, Fujisaki was actually killed in the men's changing room. We still don't know why the culprit relocated the crime scene, but yes, it seems quite likely. I see. I thought something fell off. I couldn't help thinking about something was strange about the way this body felt for a woman. Again, okay, yeah, it's all right. I'm gonna chill out in a second, but it's really like it's very troubling to me that this would be so insensitive and cruel. Like, this is not. I don't know. This is not a plot line that should be this way. I don't know. Well, okay. Like, look at it from this perspective. Imagine you're a trans person playing this game. How would this make you feel? Like, it's not. I do not feel like it is a very friendly outcome that this is having. I expected it to be like more elegant, and it could have been done in a more elegant manner. And, just by changing, oh, they're a man to, oh, they're trans. And then they could have, okay, well, put the blame on the, on Monokuma and the secret organization or whatever that's behind it, and not put the blame on just the writer and all of the characters being insensitive asshats. But okay, let's continue. I'll keep it to a minimum, I promise. I just feel like so upset about this. About the way his body felt for a woman. I'm getting kind of turned on by this. Also, don't fetishize trans people. This is wrong on so many levels. But this finally ties everything together. All my questions have been cleared up. Why should you be having your questions answered when you're our prime suspect? Ha ha ha, excellent, truly magnificent. My, oh my, he's been whisked away to another world. What do you think, Negi? After all this, do you still think Togami did it? No, I think it's probably Ugami because he was the only one who didn't say anything. I have no doubt Togami was responsible for disguising Fujisaki's death as the work of genocider Sho. Really? However, I don't think Togami is the killer. Okay. Alright. What? Even though you were the proponent? I don't know. Of the theory, Master Monokuma, Negi, Monokuma, whatever, I don't even care anymore. Whatever, I don't mind screwing up your dialogue when you're making me so uncomfortable, game. The way he seems to be egging me on earlier, it was like he was enjoying having this mystery solved, his mystery solved. Like, he didn't have anything to worry about. I can only imagine he was able to act like that because he didn't actually have anything to worry about. On top of that, the evidence Togami left was kind of, a little too blatant. Like he initially used that extension cord as a way to lead us back to him. At least that's how I see it. Why would he do that though? I don't understand why he would do that. Was he just trying to take credit for the other murder? What's more, you were obviously caught off guard when you discovered where the murder actually happened, as well as when you learned Fujisaki was a boy. If you were really the killer, neither of those should have come as a surprise to you. I see. Alright. I'm a little concerned by your lack of decision or decisive evidence. Decision evidence. But I suppose that's good enough. We'll go with your answer being correct. Correct? Just as Negi says, I am not the culprit. I happened to stumble upon his body in the women's changing room, and I modified the scene. That's all. You shitting me, man? I'm not shitting anyone. It's true. Well, could... Is it possible she accidentally dropped a dumbbell on her head? Is that a possibility? She was training alone, so she dropped a dumbbell on her head. Is that what happened? That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. So I was kind of right, sort of, maybe. I don't know. Who could believe that? If you don't want to believe me, by all means, you're just sending us all to our deaths. If what you're saying is true, then why would you do that? Why would you mess with his body? My reason is unimportant. What matters now is finding the real culprit. Negi, if I didn't kill him, then who is the culprit? I won't be able to say until we talk things over a bit more. You want to drag this on even longer? Come on, man. No matter how you slice it, Togs is the killer. We should discuss anything that doesn't sit right with anyone. So, you can count me in, Negi. If we come to the wrong conclusion here, then all of us will be executed. That's why I don't understand why Togumi was working against everyone. She's exactly right. I too shall participate in the discussion. I'm down too, dudes. Have you no independent thoughts? I'm no insect. Of course I can think for myself. Anyway, let's keep the conversation going. We don't need to come to a decision right this moment. Indeed, you have a point. Our lives are on the line. And let's recommence this murder mystery game. He knows what's up. If Togumi really isn't the murderer, then who is? Who killed Fujisaki? At the very least, the one thing we can say for sure about the culprit is that they had access to the crime scene, which means they must have been male. Maybe, unless maybe. Apparently that doesn't mean anything in this game, so who cares? You need a male's Electro ID to get into the men's changing room, which was the scene of the crime. Since Kawada's Electro ID was out of commission, the culprit must have used their own. Meaning the culprit has to be male. But that's not enough to go off of. I need more clues. Celeste's testimony. Have no leads on the identity of the killer. As for possible leads, did anyone witness the culprit? If they did, they would have said something, dude. A sight of the victim will do as well. At this point, we need any new information. Give it up. We're not getting anything. The only person who saw the victim... Celeste saw the victim. Yay! I got a 100! Actually, the culprit isn't the only one who saw the victim that night. Isn't that right, Celeste? Now that you mention it, you're right. I did see her. Huh? Seriously? Ah, yes, that's right. Negi was the only person I told about this. That would explain why you were all so horribly disconcerted. No one else knew. That's not important, just speak. Just before curfew last night, I ran into her in the dormitory storeroom. She was carrying a sports bag containing, at the very least, a tracksuit. I presume she was going to work out. A sports bag and a tracksuit? We found nothing of the sort at the crime scene. Was it moved? In all likelihood, the culprit disposed of them in order to get rid of any evidence, but we didn't see anything in the trash room, right? Not long after that, she said something rather interesting. Well, I'm in a hurry. See you later. I distinctly recall her saying she was in a hurry. Wouldn't she, being in a hurry, seem to imply she was going to meet someone? In short, Master Chihiro Fujisaki was on her way to an appointment with someone to work out together. Despite that fact, as hard as we tried, Fujisaki refused to work out with Asahina and I. Probably because this messed up school wouldn't allow her to do so. Isn't that because she didn't want you to find out she was... Turning that around, it means the person she was going to meet was someone she trusted deeply. Enough that she didn't care if they discovered her deep, dark secret. Oh, such a beautiful friendship. So basically, the person she was going to meet is the culprit, and we just need to find out who that was. Okay, well, it was Iwata, I guess. If she didn't accidentally drop something on her face, then it was Iwata. But we only have so much evidence. Is that really enough? Oh, but it is. What? It should be clear by now who the culprit is. Really? Who is it? Who killed him? Her. Who killed her? The culprit considered the sports bag and tracksuit he disposed of to be items of importance. By looking at the distinguishing features of those items, it should be obvious who she met with. Who it was she met with. Is that really so? Can we possibly determine the culprit from evidence that has already been disposed of? Are you suggesting we dust for fingerprints without the proper equipment? That would be impossible for amateurs such as ourselves. Never mind the fact we don't actually have to check for fingerprints since it's already been disposed of. We can still deduce that who he was going to meet by discussing it in detail together. That's easier said than done. Alright then, Celeste. Could you answer this? Did anything about the bag or the tracksuit stand out? The bag was just an ordinary bag you could find in the storeroom. The storeroom only stocks one variety of bag, so it isn't... so I can't say anything stood out in particular. And if my memory serves, there are several varieties of tracksuit. Perhaps then, Fujisaki's tracksuit can provide us with some information leading to the murderer. Then let's discuss her tracksuit, shall we? Could there really be something about Fujisaki's tracksuit that pointed to the killer? I'm having a hard time believing that. Non-stop debate! Celeste's testimony. First of all, Chihiro Fujisaki was going to work out. Yeah? Which raises the question, why did she select that particular tracksuit? What do you mean, that particular tracksuit? I get it. She chose her tracksuit, so she, the culprit, would match. Which means the culprit had the same blue tracksuit. My tracksuit is... Damn it! I even own a tracksuit. I mean, I'd hate working out. I've got a white tracksuit. Am I supposed to know? I got it from the dormitory storeroom. Is talking about this really going to tell us who did it? Nah, not a chance. You heard it too, didn't you, Neki? His slip of the tongue? She's right, he said something he shouldn't have. Exactly... Where exactly did he get that information? First of all, Chihiro Fujisaki was going to work out. Yes. Which raises the question, why he selected that particular tracksuit. What do you mean that particular tracksuit? I get it. He chose his tracksuit, her tracksuit, so... whatever. Alright. Which means the culprit... Yeah, it was Iwata. God damn it. Break! Which means we're all in trouble because there's gonna be a serial killer in here with us. Just a second, Iwata. There's something wrong about what you just said. Huh? What's wrong with it? When Celeste was giving her testimony earlier, she was carrying a sports bag containing, at the very least, a tracksuit. I presume she was going to work out. She never once mentioned the tracksuit's color. Then why did you know that Fujisaki wore a blue tracksuit? What are you talking about? Celeste, what color was Fujisaki's tracksuit? As I recall, it was blue. And did you tell that to anyone before the class trial? You are the only person I told, Neki. And when did you find out about Chihiro Fujisaki wore a blue tracksuit, Iwata? Well... He must have found out Fujisaki's tracksuit at some point during his investigation. Don't cover for him. No, he couldn't have. Bag and tracksuit would have already been disposed of when we began our investigation. Then the reason he knew what color it was is because he saw Chi with it before she died. By Chi, do you mean Fujisaki? So which was it? Did you see her tracksuit or didn't you? I just happened to run into her last night and catch a glimpse of it. The kid was walking around carrying it. No, that couldn't have happened either. When I was talking to Celeste, she told me she quickly stuffed the sleeve back into her bag, almost like she was trying to hide it. That's exactly how it should be read. And then she left. that after telling her her tracksuit was hanging out, Fujisaki stuffed it into her sports bag. Even if you had just stumbled into her, you couldn't have known the color of the tracksuit inside her bag. You've dug your own grave. More like you led him to his grave. That's why you said what you did, isn't it? Your spile about spile? I don't know. Spiel's the right thing. About knowing who Fujisaki met with by looking at her tracksuit was all a bunch of crap. I see. So that was a bluff, was it? Your true intention was to cause the culprit to misspeak. That's why you said you knew who the culprit was, to scare him. That's exactly right. That's right. Except, not exactly. Well, it's also exactly right. Except, I always had my sights on Owada. So much reading. My eyes are going to sleep. I was suspicious of him from the very beginning. Why? Why did you think Owada was suspicious? What do you think? How he referred to people. He was acting strangely. You don't like him. He was acting strangely. Let's say that. Right? The reason I began to suspect you, Owada, is probably something you do unconsciously. Refer to males and females differently. When talking about a woman, you call her chick, but when speaking about a man, you call him kid. After Hiro Fujisaki was murdered, Owada started referring to... I thought kid was a gender-neutral word because women can be kids too. Referring to her as kid. That's when it struck me that Owada knew Chihiro Fujisaki was female. You noticed such a minuscule detail. What are you? Woman? Some kind of witch? Scary! I'm not the one you should be afraid of. What you should really be afraid of are people who kill others, who kill their friends. Owada, is it true? Did you really murder Fujisaki? I didn't kill anyone! Are we gonna have a rap battle? The hell's your problem? Anyway, I make one little slip of the tongue, have one little brain fart, and all of a sudden you're calling me the culprit? Yeah, really. These are nothing but baseless accusations. Bro would never do such a thing. You have a point. It's hardly decisive evidence. You're already backing down. What other choice do we have? We have nothing else to go off of. Ho ho ho, tis my time to shine. Just a whisper, I hear it in my ghost. Oh yeah, you mentioned you found some evidence pointing to the culprit before, didn't you, Yamada? Did you really find... Really, what did you find? Actually, thinking about it a little more, it might not actually mean anything. Don't fizzle out on us like that, man. Just come on. Let us see it, alright? Well, if you insist. Here it is. And what's that? It's an Electro ID. I found it on the floor, so I picked it up. He found an Electro ID. It must belong to me. Chihiro Fujisaki? I assume.
これだ確か
As I recall,
Fujisaki's
Fujisaki's Electro ID wasn't found at the scene of the crime, was it?
そうだったわね
Yes, that is correct.
やは
I
りそうで
knew
した
I was right.
僕もそう思ってたん
I
ですよ
I thought that might be the case.
先ほどのものではない
That
か
this might belong to Master Chihiro Fujisaki.
じゃあそこに犯人の手がかりがあるんだね
That'll give us some kind of clue leading to the culprit, yeah?
と思ったのですが
I had the same idea, but alas, it is broken and won't even start up.
おそらく
It's likely that after committing the murder, the culprit broke it in attempts to destroy evidence. We were told that they were indestructible, so something is fishy.
だが妙だな
That's strange,
そ
though.
の電子生徒
Electro
手帳
IDs
は
are
そう
not
簡単
easy
に
to
壊れ
break.
その通
You
り
got
です
that right.
完全防水で
They're
ショック
completely
耐性も
waterproof
強いから
with high impact resistance, so they shouldn't break in everyday use.
ですがこの
And
電
yet,
子生徒手
this
帳は壊れ
Electro
ていますわ
ID
よ
is broken, as
玄関
was
ホールにあった
Kawada's in the
桑田くん
entrance
の
hall.
電子生徒手帳もです
But Monokuma assured us that they were not broken.
自信満々の割には
Wouldn't you say that's breaking a little too often for as highly as you praise them?
ぷぷ
Oh, pu- pu-
実はそこ
Truth
に
is,
謎が
there's a bit of a
あったり
mystery
して
for you there.
さてどうして
So
電子
here's the
生徒
question.
手帳は
Why,
壊れ
oh
た
why
んでし
did
ょう
the
か
Electro
ね
IDs break? Why did the Electro IDs break? I can only think of one possibility. They were hacked. They have a weakness.
これだ
He told us
僕が
that.
前に言ってたよ
Monokuma, you told
この電
Togami
子
and
生徒手
I
帳には弱
that
点が
Electro IDs have a weakness.
時
Crap, you remembered that? I did.
確かに
Yeah.
そう口を
I might have
滑ら
accidentally
せた
let
か
that
もしれ
slip,
ないけど
but I never told anyone what the weakness actually was.
だが
But for two Electro IDs, which are not supposed to break under normal stress, to be found broken,
誰かがそ
the
の弱
only
点に気づ
reasonable
いたとしか思えな
conclusion
い
is that someone discovered their weakness.
ねえモノクマは知っているのよ
You
ね
know what it is,
その弱
don't
点
you,
って何なの
Monokuma? What is the weakness?
それ
What?
を言えと
You want me to tell?
学級裁判をフェアに
I
進める
think
た
it's
め
a
に
vital piece
必
of
要な情報だと思う
information.
けど
And it wouldn't be fair to withhold that from us.
でもそれを教えちゃ
What
っ
if I
て
tell you and someone goes and tries it themselves? Someone already tried it themselves. I don't want to have to deal with that.
いいじゃん教えて
Come on, tell us. We won't try it, we promise.
しょうがないな
Oh, fine.
されると
I have a soft spot
弱
for
いんだよね
pleading, but
簡単
serious.
に真似しないでよ
For pleading, but seriously. Don't try this at home, kids.
じゃあ特別に
Very well.
発表いたしましょう
But this is a special
無敵
occasion.
な電子
The almighty
生徒手
Electro
帳の
ID's
唯一の
one and
弱
only
点とは
weakness
長時間高温
is
状
that
態にさら
extended
されると
exposure to high
熱暴走
temperatures
して
causes thermal
壊
runaway,
れてしま
destroying
うん
it.
です
やっぱりね
As I thought.
やっぱり
Wait, so shouldn't what's his name's be destroyed as well because he spent all that time in the steamer with Iwata? As you thought.
この電子
I
生
found
徒
this
手帳は
Electro ID in the
落ちていましたから
That was valuable information.
サウナの室温は摂氏
Isn't it
100
kind
度
of
にもな
weird
ります
how
が
you don't
どう
get
して焼けどし
burned
ないの
into
か
the sauna when
不思議じゃあ
temperatures
り
can
ません
exceed 100 degrees
そ
Celsius?
れは蒸発
This
し
is
た汗の
because as
水
your
分を
sweat evaporates into the air, it creates a
皮
protective
膚の
layer
周
around
囲
your
にで
skin.
ちなみにサウナで
Incidentally,
高温の
if
空
you
気
blow
を皮膚に
hot
直
air
接
directly
吹き
on
つけ
your
ると
skin
やけど
while
し
in
ま
the
すが
sauna, you will get burned.
これは皮膚の
That's
周
because
囲
it
の空
disturbs
気
the
層
air
が
around
乱
your
れるせい
skin.
なのです
This is also why it
そのため
hurts to move
サウナ
around
で
in the
動き
sauna.
回るとですので
For that
サウナ
reason,
内は
you must take care to remain still and quiet in the sauna.
なるほどまた一つ
Fascinating.
賢
I
くな
feel
ったぞ
smarter. Me too. I didn't know that.
どうでもいい豆知識です
Was
け
a
どね
completely useless piece of trivia.
でもさ
But
被
hey,
害者の電子
if the
生徒手
victim's
帳が
Electro
サウナ
ID
で
was
発見さ
found
れ
in
た
the
ってこと
sauna,
はもしかして
Maybe they put it in there on purpose, intending to break it by taking advantage of its weakness.
ではやはり犯人
Then
は
the
知っていた
culprit
のだ
must have known the weakness.
でも犯人は
But
どうや
how'd
って
he
知った
figure
の
it out then?
モノクマは誰に
Monokuma
も教
said
え
he
てないって
didn't
言
tell
ってたよ
anyone.
謎ですな
It is a mystery indeed.
偶然知ったんだとしたら
And what if he accidentally discovered it?
偶然とはどう
What do
い
you
う意味
mean, accidentally?
犯人は何か
The
の折に
culprit could have
偶然サウナ
thought
で電子生徒手
some
帳を
turn
壊し
of
てしまう
events accidentally broke his own Electro ID in the sauna.
そこで
And
電子生
then,
徒手
having
帳の
discovered
弱
the
点を
Electro
か
ID's
けて
weakness,
2度目の藤崎千
he
尋
was
の
able to
時
repeat that a second time with Chihiro Fujisaki's.
可能性はあるかもしれ
That's
んが
certainly possible,
で
but
は誰
then
がそれをや
who
ったん
did
だ
it?
サウナに電子生徒
I
手
can't
帳を持ち
imagine
込み
anyone would
壊
bring
して
their
しまった人
Electro
間
ID
な
into
ど
the sauna.
心当たりがあるかもしれない
But I can.
マジですかいな
For real?
一人だけ
I can think of
心当たりがある
one person who might have
電子
brought
生徒手
their
帳を
Electro
サウナ
ID
に持
into
ち
the
込んだかも
sauna. There's only one person who might have brought their Electro ID into the sauna. That someone entered the sauna with their clothes on. Yeah. It was Iwata. Okay. Oh, it would have been shorter to go the other way. Whatever.
これが僕の答えだ大田君
Iwata, it was you who broke your Electro
Sauna
ID
de
in the
電子生徒手帳を壊したの。
sauna, wasn't it? What? Okay. So I'm actually gonna end this here. We're gonna finish it up next episode. I don't want it to get too long. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Leave a like. Comment on what you think of the game so far. I'm a little horrified they had such a insensitive, strange plot point. Go check out the other videos I've done, and I will see you soon. No. Oh my god, dead end. Get out!